guys. I'm doing things a little bit different today. I told you guys that I would try to do a favorites things, Jamie's favorite things on Saturdays. And today is definitely Saturday. But there's been so much going on in the world and around us this week that it didn't feel it appropriate to do one the way that I normally do. And just wanted to come on here and check on everyone. I know that everything that's going on is very scary for a lot of people. People are fearful. It doesn't matter what race or color you are at this point. People just don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going to happen next. We've had so much happen. You know, we've gone from the pandemic, and then no sooner than doors are opened, we are now dealing with the things that we're dealing with now with, the unfortunate killing of George Floyd. So I wanted to just take some time and get on here and just see how everyone's doing and just encourage you to talk to someone, to make sure that you're calling and checking on your loved ones, and that in this time that you even, I would recommend, depending on where you are and what city, maybe even keeping your children in for a while. I don't know. I know that's what I'm doing. I have children, and yes, they're African American boys, and it is sad of the things that we're having to deal with and the things that we're having to teach them and the conversations that we're having to ask. Matter of fact, the look that was on my boy's face when they were trying to figure out what was going on was painful to see, because they are young enough to understand. They're old enough to understand, but young enough to also still kind of have questions in their mind of why, and trying to understand what's happening. Why is it happening that way? And what does this mean? And how could someone do this, that, or the other? But to have to train them of what to do and how to speak and don't do this, don't do that. It's tough. It really is tough. And then also, I think what's scary about it is knowing that sometimes you can teach them all those things, and it just depends on the person that they encounter. The rest, teaching them, though, that not all people are bad people. It just depends. Not all people are out to get you. It just depends on the situation. So, there are pastors and different leaders and other therapists and counselors and things doing videos and reaching out, and during this time, and a lot of people are just angry. They're hurt. I know if I speak for myself, as a mother, it's very hard in this time, because if you're a mom, you're already that's why they call it mother hens. You're protecting your babies. You're trying to keep them safe as much as possible from anything, any danger, any violence. And it was really hard. If thinking about the George Floyd thing, it was hard I didn't watch the actual video. I could barely handle looking at the snippets that they show online. They had just enough to kind of give you a brief view of what happened live, and that's about all I could do. I did not hear his voice, crying out, but I could read his lips, and it was hard. I know his mother is no longer with us, and I couldn't imagine if she would have been, to see her son go through that. But without dwelling on these things, we know we've just got a lot of things going on. Every time we turn a corner, there's something going on right now. And I just want you to be encouraged, and I want you to just kind of people are getting angry, and some of them are not handling their anger the right ways. And so in that, I want to encourage you to take that anger that you may be feeling, and take that hurt that you might be feeling, and even take the fear that you might be feeling, and turn that into something that's positive. Because we are not going to help the situation by hurting others or tearing other things down. But if we can, a true protest comes from, speaking facts and coming up with a way to change what's happening, a way to do better. You're speaking out on what's wrong and how can we make this right, and getting someone's attention that way. And so the communities have got to come together in a way that is helpful to others, a way that's going to bring about change. And so I'm just, imploring you to take that and the anger or the fear, the confusion, whatever it is that you're feeling at this moment, and turn it into a positive and act on that. Put our energy and put our time behind making sure something like this doesn't ever happen again. And if we can come together as a community, I think that's the biggest thing that everybody's looking for, is unity and love and caring for one another, taking care of one another, looking out for one another. I know during COVID, people had to start looking out for one another. They were bringing food. They were, making phone calls. What do you need? They're shopping for others who couldn't shop, doing things for the elderly that they, couldn't do for themselves. Just really linking together to try to protect our families and things like that. And so the same way we tried to come together for the COVID is the same thing that we need to do in these painful times, because it is painful. It's painful, and it's hard to see. It's hard to watch. It's I've listened to so many different people talk about how they're scared. There's people who are processing this. There's people who don't understand it. And I know the African American community especially is trying to figure out how can we prevent this from happening over and over and over again. But just turn that to a positive. That's what we've got to try to aim to do. And it's not easy. It's not easy. But we've got to do it. That's the best thing to do. That's the better half of all of this. There's just so very much going on, and we can get so much further if we team together. If we team up together as a community to fight for what's right in the right way. Because there's just so much going on out there right now. And I know that's a hard thing, because racism is very much alive. And it's unfortunate, but it's not everyone. I have several really good friends that are Caucasian, and, it's not all of them. That's all I can say. It's not all of them. And I have several good friends that are in the police academy, and they work with the police department, and they're good people. They're genuinely good people. And so I hate for everyone to get this label on them because of one. But I know that the world is fed up. I know that the world is tired of this, that it's senseless. A life is so very important. Anybody's life is important. And, find a way to release what you're feeling in the most productive and positive way that you can, but release it. Don't hold it in. Don't mask it, but release that. If you have to journal, write it down. If you have to video record your voice like you're talking to someone, do that. Do a voice recording. If you need to call a friend and vent, call that friend that you know will listen and vent. make something, do something, create a new project. Maybe put, like I said before, when we're trying to put these things together to make a change and we're turning what we're feeling around for a positive, put some effort into that. What can you come up with? What gifts or talents do you have that maybe in this moment in time, we can hear your voice and we can hear what you have come up with to make things a better place, make this world a better place. I know for me, meditation is huge. Reading scripture is huge. Praying and talking to God is huge for me, but you got to find what's good for you. I know my boys listen to, or they follow Corey X. Kinchin, and he mentioned that in his video. And I think that that's wonderful. I was wondering what my boys were listening to. And, you know, that's one of the things that he mentioned was find something, find a way to let this all out, but don't hold it in. So I am praying for you that's listening. I'm praying for this world, and I'm hoping for a better day, a new day. And I have faith that there will be a better day. But just remember that in such hard times, we got to pull together. We have to come together and call one another, support one another, but just do not isolate yourself and become so quiet that all of what you're feeling stays inside, because these are traumatic events that are happening. And I know there's a lot of people who are witnessing this head on. They are watching it. They either watch this, they either watched George Floyd die, they were either in the vicinity to hear him struggle, or either, like we talked about with COVID-19, people were losing people to sickness and getting this disease and not able to even say goodbye to their loved ones in the way that they wanted to. And so we've gone from levels of grief just into another level of grief. And so, you know, we've just got to continue to pull together and lift one another up the best way that we know how. So write your letters. If you got to write a letter to someone just to, you know, to get it out, write, journal, pray, talk, meditate. But just let's find a way to turn this, what we're feeling, to use that energy and redirect it to for something positive. Yeah. And I don't expect, this is just, I wanted to get on here just to be another voice of encouragement, to be another voice that you can hear, to say that I'm here. I know that's part of the reason why that I started my YouTube page, was that's a part of my profession. It's a part of my heart. I care for people. I really do. And I've always, since a little girl, I've grown up listening to people and listening to my friends. My friends would always call me to be the mediator. My friends would always ask me to call and calm someone down or talk to someone or just simply listen. We don't have a lot of people who just will simply listen anymore. There's so many people that I've counseled and they're like, it's just nice to have someone listen. So we're all going through something, some form of something, and we need hope, and we need to know that we have support and have someone there that will just listen and take the time to understand our point of view. And so that's what this video is here for. It's replacing my favorite things. And one of my favorite things, though, is love. And so I pray for this video to touch your heart and to wrap its arms around you and make you feel loved, make you feel like you have hope, and to remind you that there are several people out there who are just a phone call away, and they're willing to listen to you in this time. Love everyone out there, praying for one out there, everyone out there, and keep your heads up. And like I said, let's work on turning what we're feeling and using it in a positive way to make a change.